My brother's media, so this family.
You possible?
Definitely possible. If I'm talking to you guys, it's definitely a possibility. So.
No, I'm sorry, I meant.
Oh, me media?
Post
media,
yeah. Yes, possible. Yes, possible. Probably more coaching than media, but I'd more want to do the college game. Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
Derek, how did you come through practice today? How did you feel?
I felt great. Felt confident enough to be able to strap it up and go today. And so the real test is seeing how I would feel afterwards, and I feel good. And so now let's stack some days together, and to be able to hopefully play this week. So but it felt really good to be back out there with my teammates, because watching especially when it's tough, it sucks. You want to be out there with your guys. So it felt really nice to be back out there playing football again.
What was your functionality? Did you feel it in the torque, or?
No, I feel great now. Yeah, we got to a point real late last week where I felt confident in what we were doing. Felt we did some things on Monday, felt real confident. Tuesday felt confident, and then today was like, all right, well, we should be good. And I felt good, and it was really that first ball, you throw in team that is a real rep. You move, you got to step this way, throw it that way, and that was the test, and it felt great.
What was this process? How long did it take for you to be able to get to the point where you felt comfortable?
A good 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, to where I could actually begin to try and do the stuff I have to do. It was a slow process, but our trainers did a fantastic job. They really did. They mapped it out for me, said it'll be between this and this, and we got back more on the earlier side of it, but they did a great job with the plan and trusting what I was saying and how I felt, and being able to progress that plan, and then God did what God did. It just he always takes care of me. It sucks having to sit there and watch when it wasn't the most painful thing I've ever dealt with. It really wasn't. It wasn't really painful. It was just a lack of being able to do my job. And so that was the most frustrating part, because I couldn't just play through it. I just literally couldn't do it. And so it's been the most frustrating injury I've ever had, besides breaking my ankle and not being able to play in the playoffs, that year. But this is the most frustrating, because there's literally nothing that I could do but wait and just let it heal.
What could you not do?
Throw, sneeze, cough, hold my kids. There was a lot of things that, my daughter ran up to me like, we get home, she sees me the next morning, and she comes running up, and I went to grab her, and I was like, nope. So it was tough. I think not being able to hold my kids was probably the hardest part.
Derek, I imagine.
Sorry, you start first.
But I imagine with an injury like this, there's a stage, I don't know if it's a day or a week, where you could probably throw 10-yard passes and not throw 40-yard. Like, when was that stage, and how hard was it to resist? Maybe I could go out there only.
It was it was a lot of people taking care of me, from me, because they learned last year that, especially with the injuries and things that I had, that I would play through anything. And they learned that, you may be able to do this, but you got to be able to do what you got to do, And so our trainers, our coaching staff, Mickey, I thought they did a great job of making sure that I could get back and be ready, and not have a setback. Now it's life; anything can happen. But we believe we're in a place where there won't be a setback, because I feel good, feel confident. But there was stages. Some of the stages took longer than others. But now that we're here, it feels like it flew by. But every day felt like it was 3 days. I remember looking at the sheet, and it was like day 14 of the injury. I was like, gosh, it felt like 30. And so, especially when the team is, not winning and things like that, it was even harder, because you just want to, even in those moments when it's the hardest, when it's not going your way, that's when it hurts you the most, because you want to be out there with your guys, in those moments, trying to rally them and, encourage them and things like that. And there's only so much you can do when you're not playing, and so you're not in the huddle, you're not on the field, every day. So, but yeah, there was definitely stages. Ben and them would know the stages better than I would, but yeah.
But not to put words in your mouth, so that means you're not coming back at 80%. You're coming back a lot closer to 100, or
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because this was something like, if I go to rip a ball, 60 yards, and and it pulls, like, what's the point? Like if you do that, now again, it's football, and I don't ever want to just put that, put that stuff out there, but anything can happen. But we feel confident. I feel confident. I've shown it, that I can do those things, and now it's about just how I stack days and how it feels after that.
When Breeze had a similar injury like 10 years ago, I
Yep.
think he came back around the same time frame. That was preseason though. But he said later on that he felt like his mechanics suffered
Yep.
after he came back in that time frame. Is there any concern about that? And like, how do you alleviate maybe that happening?
Yeah, so that's part of the reason, like, this was the toughest injury for me. So, I wanted to make sure that I came back and I was just me. I'm not overcompensating like last year with my shoulder, or just different things. And the day I found out what it was, and we found out the time frame and what I had done, I called it. I think I texted Drew and asked him. I said, hey, I know you had this back in this year. What was something? And things like, just make sure your mechanics. He gave me other advice, but he's like, just don't let your mechanics suffer to just try and get back on the field, because then you won't feel the same. And so for me, it was about every part of the stages, every part of the process was making sure that I kept all of that right, whether it was at 5 yards, 10 yards, or 50 yards. I just made sure that I have to be able to do it the right way, to make sure that I don't have to do my best to make sure there's no setback.
Is there added pressure knowing that the offense has really struggled without you, or how do you not put added pressure on yourself to kind of want to be the savior of what has not worked since you've been going?
I am no savior. There's only been one of those, and that is not me. I am here to be a great leader and to be a great teammate and to do my job to the best of my ability. And do I feel confident what I can do? Absolutely. I feel confident what I can do. I feel confident in what I can bring to our team, and that's exciting, right? But to save us or anything like that, that's not me. I'm going to come in and do what my guys expect me to do. Bring energy, bring effort. Like I said, be a great teammate. Encourage our guys, get everybody on the same page, lock in the details, hold each other accountable. Like we got 9 weeks that are promised to us, right? And or 10 weeks, whatever week this is, right? And there's just a full commitment, just from myself to our guys. When I get back, I'm going to be a psychopath. I'm going to be crazy about the details and everything, because we only get one shot at this, and so, I don't have any promises. I don't have anything except I'll promise great effort. I'll promise, long nights and early mornings, to make sure that we're at our best. And so, I'm looking forward to getting back and excited to finally, be back on the practice field.
Derek, I asked Dennis Allen this as well. You don't have to name specific seasons, but I assume in over 10 years of playing, have you been part of teams that did let a losing streak kind of get the locker room defeated, or lose buy-in and lose that? What makes you confident this is not that?
It's the people that we have in the locker room, because I have absolutely seen it, and I have absolutely seen, people in the locker room. You only need 3 or 4 guys that'll listen to them, bad apples. You only need 3 or 4 to listen to them that start bringing everybody else with them. And so the people that we have in this locker room, the energy that we felt at practice, the unity. We keep talking about, me and DeMario keep talking about the unity on this team, and it really is a beautiful thing. And our record, where we're at, it sucks. It's a sucky feeling. It really does, because we didn't think it was going to be this. We didn't know all the stuff we'd have to go through and all that. But at the end of the day, none of it matters. Like, this is what we have. What are we going to do about it? And our team has just hunkered down, backs against the wall, and you either give up or you fight. And I really believe our team's going to fight. I really believe that, just from what I felt at practice today. What I felt in our meeting room, the attention to detail, the guys are asking questions, the give up factor, that there's just it's not in the locker room. And I think where you put your finger on that is, like, who are you bringing in your locker room? And I really feel like we have great leaders. I really feel like we have great people, great men, and our coaching staffs are on the same page. Usually when you see that stuff start happening, it starts there, and you see, you feel the tension with this and this and this. Just being honest with you, I've seen it more times than I'd like to admit. And then it trickles down because what's that position hearing in their room when the door's closed? What are they hearing? You know, and there's none of that. Everyone's on the same page. You see them communicating. That's stuff I watch for, you know, just been doing it a while. And our guys are doing that. So we're doing all the right things. We're trying our best. Now, does that promise us great results? No. We gotta put the work in and go do it on Sundays, but it does give us a better chance than doing it the other way.
Derek, you were talking about all that with the, you know, how the unity and staying encouraged. Is it good to have something tangible like, hey, like I know we've had a battle through all these injuries. You're coming back. A lot of the offensive pieces are back here for, you know, another week. Is that I guess encouraging for the team to see that?
Yeah, I think so. Just from what other guys are saying, I think it's encouraging. And you know, I thought, you know, throughout all the injuries, we had a lot of young guys get a lot of great experience. And I thought our 2 young quarterbacks, for it being their first action against some of those defenses, did a great job. And I'm so proud of them and the work that they put in. That's a tough situation, even for a veteran to play with all those injuries and, you know, still try and move the ball and score points. That is, I've been there, and it's hard because then you got to stand up here and answer the questions, and you can't say certain things because they're, you know, the facts are the facts. You know, it's just hard. And you know, you put all the pressure on yourself because you still feel like when the ball's in your hand, like, no, we can still win. You know, that's how competitive we are. But I was so proud of the way that they played and the experience that they got, you know. All of our young guys that had to step up and play. So, you know, I think going through it, you know, you look at the record and it sucks, but I think we're a stronger team for it. You know, I think we're a closer team. We got more experience now with our team than we did before all the injuries. And so, you know me, I'm always going to be positive about it. But now we got to win. You know, that period, point blank. We just need to start winning and hopefully get on the right track this week.
You were talking about saviors earlier, and I know you just alluded to Spencer.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, maybe unfairly placed a lot of expectations on him when he came in. I mean,
yeah.
Did you deal with him as far as encouragement? How did you feel like he played in that 3-game stint?
He played great for a rookie. You know, he did a lot of great things. He's gonna, you know, there's so much that it's so unfair sometimes, the pressure we put on rookie quarterbacks, and I'm talking about across the league. You know, quarterbacks need time. You know, not everybody's in the same situation as some of these other guys. You know, some of these other guys walk into situations, and what they're asked to do. Yes, they may have success, but what they're asked to do, you know, it's a good thing they got a good team around them. You know, and so you know, sometimes guys get a lot of unfair circumstances, and again, no one cares, you know, but it's just facts. And so I thought he played great, you know, for a young guy. You know, does he have a lot of things to learn? Absolutely. You know, we knew that, you know, as soon as they said he was going to start, you know, we knew, you know, Billy knew that there was things that he just doesn't know yet because he just hasn't experienced them. And so, you know, having your first experience, you know, getting a couple starts in a row under your belt, you know, that's only going to bode well for him, you know, because now he can see himself on film and watch it and learn and remember the actual play. It's different from standing on the sideline watching that when you're in that pocket and experiencing it, you know. And so he's going to be a great player. And
Did you sense any frustration from him, or, you know?
I mean, yeah, like normal, like competitive frustration. Right. Yeah, absolutely. He's a competitor. You know, we all are. And so my all I try to do is encourage him. You know, I thought, you know, there was times in the games where maybe it wasn't going our way, but he was doing a great job. And I tell him, bro, keep freaking ripping it. You know, great job, great eyes, you know, great anticipation, good ball. I know you maybe want that other play back, but the other 3 were perfect, man. Great job, you know. And so, you know, they've been so supportive of me, and they have projects and they do things and help me to get ready for game day all year long. And Jake last year, and I tried to be the same for them. You know, just encourage them, be there for them, just like Matt Schaub was there for me my rookie year. Matt McGloin was there for me, and you know, EJ Manuel, and I can, you know, go on and on about the great people I've had to play with. That quarterbacks, we all support each other. And so, you know, we knew that there was going to be things that, you know, he wasn't going to know yet, but I thought with that he still played great and he did a great job.
With your like rehab schedule where you stayed, how did you kind of stay involved beyond just, you know, helping the 2 quarterbacks? Were you able to go to meetings, like film study, things like that? Sometimes.
There was really some days, like a stretch there, where I was starting to get a little bit better, where I couldn't be at every meeting. And so, you know, but I was having all the stuff sent to me. I had everything. I had everything, was looking at everything. You know, what plays we had in, you know, playbook-wise. And if I didn't know something, I'd go ask. I'd text the coach or go ask just to make sure I knew and stayed on top of it that way. And so but there was sometimes I was here at way before the sun comes up and didn't get to go home for a long time, because of just the schedule that they had me on and all that. So it was it went from a lot of football to a lot of taking care of my body, but sometimes I was able to go, sometimes I couldn't.
Derek, when you were talking about people protecting you from yourself, is that easier to kind of absorb that message when it was a functionality thing versus like a pain thing?
Yes.
And did you also learn some lessons from last year with kind of playing through some of the stuff and struggling through some of it?
100%. The hardest part for me when it first happened was like, well, can I just do this or this and just play? And they're like, no, like you'll literally be out for the rest of the year. Like it'll be over. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, can't do that. So once I asked, like I always have a couple questions I ask. Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And if all those answers are no, then there's nothing I can do about it. And is that frustrating? Yes, because as competitors, like I'll do anything to be out there or give my best. And so that part was hard. That part was frustrating. But I am thankful for our staff because they kept. I try and be positive, but there's some days during that you're like, gosh, dang, it feels like it's not getting better. It's just like it's so little, and then all of a sudden they're like, just trust me, man. And then all of a sudden, boom, I was like, hey, let's go out. And they're like, calm down. I was like, I can play this week. And Sean every time was like, no. Like I'd hear him from his office. I'd ask Ben, can I play? He's like, no. I was like, all right, whatever. So, that was before I even threw a ball 10 yards. I asked if I could play, and Sean didn't like that. So. That we did our best, man, and I promised myself I'd be positive through the whole thing because it sucks, watching your team out there playing, wishing you could be there. It was really hard for me. It's probably the hardest time to watch my team because it wasn't the most painful thing. Right. It was just a functional thing that I just couldn't do.
So were you close last week?
No, and if you ask me, yes. If you ask them, they say no. But yeah. I obviously wasn't good enough to go. So
I've always wondered this. Is it a weird feeling to be on the sideline? Like you want to go help like Jake or Spencer, but you're not the coach. So like, what do you do? Do you like tell them and then back off? Do you like?
No, our
coaches deal with it.
Clint and Janoke are great. They're like, dude, you've played 11 years at this position. Like, tell them anything you want to tell them. And so, I'd see things. I'd see a hand signal. I could hear a call that they were making or whatever, and I'd be like, hey, every time it's this, and give them little things to help them find completion throughout the game. And so our coaches are great. Anytime I had something, like I remember I sat down one time to tell Spencer something, or Jake, and Clint comes walking up in Janoke, and I went to get up. They're like, no, finish telling them. Please tell them, And so they were great. And they, from the beginning, they've trusted, what I see and, things I hear on the football field. So that was cool. But at the same time, I didn't want to fill their brain with so much because I'm the type of person, give me every bit of information and I'll sort through it and then use what I need to use. Like when it's their first action, there's only so much I want to put in their head. Like, hey, if it's this signal and you see this guy leverage and you see that, I didn't want to give them 20 different things to think about when they still had to execute. And so, I would give things every now and then, but again, I thought they handled themselves great in a very tough situation. Really, really proud of those two. Really am. Good. Yeah.
When you look at the last 6 games, I think everyone understands week 3 and 4 really close. Week 5 on the road, Super Bowl champs. But with the last 3 and I know you weren't playing, by 18 or more, how do you process that?
It's hard. I've been in times where you have those stretches and it's like, man, I feel like we're doing the right things, but it's just a frustrating feeling. It is a frustrating thing, I'm sure all of us have had times like in our job where like you go a couple weeks or a month and you're like, it's just not going right, and that was kind of the feeling that we had. But getting back to the basics, getting back to, and I mean that just as players, when you're going through that, I always tell them, get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals, get back to, don't do too much, just get back and focus on your job, do your job to the best of your ability, because sometimes you get in the season and certain things become second nature, and then you're thinking about this and helping this, and it's like, let's just all focus in on doing our job. And so just a refocus, man. I felt a refocused energy about the team today, and really on Monday afternoon. And does that mean it's going to be great Sunday? That doesn't promise it, but it does mean I think that we're trying to do things the right way. And so, you know, I never get too high or too low, especially in those times when it's like, golly, man, like by 18 points and all that. You know, you try not to get too low with it because this game can turn so quick. And so you just try and stay positive, and the main thing is you got to put the work in and do things the right way. And so if we hold each other accountable peer to peer to make sure everyone's putting that work in, it usually turns around.
Yeah, DA said the captains and he met the other day, and it was very positive. Was there a message that came out of that when you all met?
Yeah, I mean, we met. You know, DA has the captains meet like off and on, but once a month, like for a dinner, and we had that this week, and I think he was looking for some information. I was like, and all of us to a man were like, we're good. The locker room's good. You know, Double D, myself, Cam. You know, are we? You know, did we put ourselves in certain situations that's tough? Absolutely, we did that. You know, injuries, all that, none of it matters. We're in that position, and so, you know, where are we right now? I say we're in a pivotal place, right? We gotta win. You know, that's where we're at. But we're also in a good place mentally. You know, our locker room, the mentality, the way guys are flying around at practice. Because I've been around it, man, where it goes the other way, and practice just feels dull, feels dead. You try and motivate a guy, he won't do it. All that kind of stuff. I've seen it. You know, and that was not the case with our team today.
Good. You've also made birdie after a blow-up hole, right?
Absolutely. You got to keep swinging. Keep swinging. Thank you, guys.